Should the money your band makes from gigs be split evenly among the band members? Or should there be a tier or hierarchy of salaries? Or should everyone be paid based on how they perform? This is critical and it's something that you have to get right. So let's discuss it. Hey, and welcome to Music Space, where we help working musicians just like you learn how to quickly and easily make a living with your craft. So if you're new here to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded. So if there was one thing that I could say that ruins bands and groups of musicians the most, it is the issue of money. When you have a situation where a member or members of a band feel like they aren't being treated fairly and with respect when it comes to money, you have a situation brewing on your hands that's most likely going to lead to animosity, bands breaking up, and even fighting. And usually the more money that's involved, like the higher amounts of money that's involved, the bigger the problems are. And these types of issues are bad for everyone involved. I mean, your band breaking up means less money in your pocket. And as I say all the time, this channel is about helping musicians make money. But in order to make more money, you need to be handling and dealing with money correctly when it comes to dividing and splitting that money with your band members. And this is a thing that if you get right, you set yourself and your band up for success. But get it wrong? Well, let's just say it won't be too good for you. So let me break down some ways of splitting and dividing money with your band with regards to things like the size of your band, the amount of money that you bring in, and the types of gigs you play. Now, right before we get into that, if you're getting value out of this video so far, do me a quick favor and hit the subscribe button and the like button on this video. That lets me know that you appreciate this content, and it lets me know what type of content I should make for you in the future. Okay, so first let's establish a few ground rules about these methods I'm about to give you. One thing is, no matter how you decide to divide or split the money with your band members, you need to be forthcoming and upfront about it. Being upfront and forthcoming about, how you divide your money with your band, cuts down on a lot of misunderstandings that happen over money between people. Also, ideally, you want to stay consistent with whatever method or methods you choose for splitting money with your band. It's usually best to not split the money one way for a gig this weekend and then split the money a different way between members the next gig for the next weekend. Keeping it consistent cuts down on a lot of mix-ups. Now, this is a point that I also discussed in a prior video on how to divide tips and splitting tips with your band, and I'll link that video in a card above, so be sure to check that out. Now, also, if you're the leader of the band or the person who handles the money for the band, you need to have a sense of fairness and equality. You can't be arrogant and frankly just think you're the crap because you're the money person. You can't be the dude that threatens the pay of other band members and hold their checks over their head for arbitrary rules that you make up in your head. That's not how this works. And not only can you not be those things, but you actually have to be the person that's responsible for when things happen if or when things go wrong with the money. I've seen too many times where the money person, and sometimes it's the band leaders, where they just frankly become assholes because they try to hold money over your head and try to control you and try to control your actions because they have your money. And that's not fair at all, and it creates a really bad situation between the members of your band. So do not take this approach with dealing with money. Just don't be that guy. Okay, so we'll get the easiest method out of the way off top, and that's just to split the money evenly among your band members. This is the tried and true method of, dealing with money with your band, and it can be done with no matter what size band you have, no matter how much money you bring in, or no matter what type of gigs you play. It keeps things really simple. Like, you have a policy in place where everything that comes in, all monies that come in, are divided evenly among your band members, and you don't have to deal with the headache of, trying to split money between band members. And generally speaking, no one is going to feel slighted or cheated in this type of situation where the money is being divided evenly. And it's usually a method that works really well for bands that don't bring in a lot of money. So for example, if you're a 5-piece band and your band only makes about $250 per gig, well, that's only $50 per band member. So in that case, it doesn't make much sense to try to split it in other ways that I'm going to mention here. And that leads me to the next way to split money with your band, and that is to have a pay scale or payment structure. And this is where you pay band members based on their value or on the value that they bring to the band and the effectiveness that they have in their role in the band. So the way this works is, for example, the drummer is the person that gets the gigs, that organizes the rehearsals, that, puts things together, who has his or her own personal, and professional equipment, is knowledgeable and experienced, etc., etc. Well, this person would be the person who is bringing more value to the band versus, say, someone like a singer who just shows up to sing and, goes home. And of course, this would be the case if the singer were those things. So if the singer were the knowledgeable person and all of those things that I mentioned, then they're maybe bringing more value to the band and more experience to the band than, say, the drummer. And this method can work with any sort of band that you have and any sort of group that you have or group of musicians that you have. But generally speaking, it tends to work a little better with bands who are more established and who bring in a little bit more money than like the low end of the income, scale. So like, again, if you're a band who only makes about $250 per gig with a 5-piece band, it kind of doesn't make much sense to try to split it in pay scales where you're paying one person $65, another person $45, or one person $30 and then another person $20 and stuff like that. So it doesn't make much sense in those situations. It usually works a little better when there's more money involved. But again, it can work in those low pay situations. It's just generally not ideal. Now, another way to divide and split money with your band is to pay salaries. And this is pretty easy. It's basically when you have a predetermined amount set that you pay for each role or position in the band. So for example, lead singers in your band make a particular amount. The guitarist makes a certain amount, the musical director makes a certain amount, and on and on. And those amounts can be the same or they can be different. And the thing that's really important about this that you should know is that the salaries stay the same no matter what type of gig you have and no matter the amount of money that that gig brings in. So if it's a $250 gig, the lead singer's salary stays the same. If it's a $2,050 gig, the lead singer's salary stays the same. And this is the way that it works at most corporate companies and corporate jobs. Like the manager's pay is a particular thing, the secretary's pay is a particular thing, and on and on. And if that company has a good year where they double their, income from the previous year, well, that manager's or that secretary's salary doesn't change. And it's the same if they have a bad year where they lose money. That secretary's or manager's pay doesn't change. And this method, in theory, could work with no matter what type of band you have. But again, this is one that is better suited for professional bands who bring in substantial amounts of income. If you're a band who brings in, $5,000 to $10,000 per gig or, somewhere in that vicinity, then it allows you to do things like have this room to sort of develop that hierarchical system of pay and salaries. So again, this method as it stands is probably better suited for more established, more seasoned bands who've been around for a while and who, bring in a lot of income where they're able to divide their money that way. So these are just a few ways that are the most common ways that bands break down and split their pay with their band members. And each one offers some benefit based on your particular situation that you're in, things like your band size and the amount of money that you bring in and things like that. So the best thing to do is to put some thought into which of these methods that work best for you in your current situation or the situation that you're aiming for with your band. But as I stated in the beginning, the most important thing to think about when doing this and coming up with these methods is to approach it with a sense of fairness, honesty, equality, and impartiality. You do this and you will be setting yourself up for success no matter which of these methods you choose. But the question is for you. How is money divided up in your band or the bands that you play with? Or do you know of some other methods that I may not have mentioned here in this video? Jump down in the comments and let me know. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. And hey, did you know that there's a bunch of free resources that I put together for you that are in the description of this video? Everything from a free ebook that will give you 10 ways to make more money as a musician, to free contracts that you can use to book gigs, and much, much more. So be sure to jump down in the description of this video and check for those. And listen, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope that it was helpful for you and provided some insight for you on how to divide and split money with your band. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button on this video. And here are some other videos that you can check out right now.